This is the LG Music. This is the first personal cell phone that I ever owned. It has amazing features. You can control the music from the outside here. It even had an FM transmitter built in so that you could play that music on your car stereo. Up here at the top, it has a camera. Inside, it had this cool screen, and you could text and use it as a great communication device. Well, over the years, phones have got more and more complicated with more applications and more things that you can do all in one device. Now, there are a ton of different options for which phone you can get, but they pretty much all do the same thing, and they all lack the ability to be restrictive and to just be simple communication devices. Yes, they can communicate, but it's easy to get distracted by all kinds of applications that are out there. And that's where this phone comes in. This is the Gabb Wireless Z2. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Tech with Brett, where I help tech work for you. So a few months ago, before the pandemic, I was driving down to Las Vegas and I saw these signs for Gabb Wireless. And there were 3 different billboards in a row, and they talked about how this is a great first phone. And I thought, well, what is a first phone? And I remembered my phone like this, where it just had the communication, the texting and calling, and that was it. There weren't all these other smartphone applications to get distracted by. Well, Gabb Wireless has come out with a phone that allows you to have a smartphone where you can use music, you can take pictures, and you can do calendar and all kinds of things on your phone, but it doesn't have all those extra smartphone applications that are distracting and that somebody that uses a first phone probably doesn't need. So this is actually the second phone that they've released. This is the ZTE Z2. So let's get this unboxed. Today I'm gonna review it and show you exactly what this phone can do and if it is something that would be useful for you. So here on the back, it says that it is a quad core 2 gigahertz GPU. It has 5.5 inch display, so 720 by 1440. It has 2 gig of RAM and 32 gig of ROM. So that means it has 32 gig of internal storage for videos and pictures or music that you can store. It has Gabb Wireless safety and security. Here it has a 2650 milliamp battery, and then it has a 5 megapixel front facing camera and an 8 megapixel rear camera. So you're not going to take this phone and put it on other networks. You're going to get a service plan directly from Gabb Wireless. And they have 2 plans. They have one plan that is $20, that's basic calling and texting. And then you have the $25 plan that gives you the option to group text and picture message and other things like that. So that's what I signed up for. So let's go ahead and see what is in the box. And here in the box, you have a USB-C charging cable and you have a power brick. Here you have some stickers, so that's kind of cool. And here we have the instruction manual talking about the phone, how to charge it, and some other things and some basics. And then here we have our device. Now this phone costs $100. So there are a ton of smartphones out there. You're gonna spend a lot more, but I would say that this feels like a pretty good quality phone for $100. And let's say it gets destroyed, $100 isn't bad to replace. So let's go ahead and peel off this little protector here. And it looks like on the back, you do have a fingerprint scanner. Down here, you have the speaker, you have the cameras with flash right there, and volume and power buttons on the side. So let's go ahead and boot this up. And then one unique thing about this phone that we haven't seen for a while is you can actually remove the back. So down here in the bottom corner, I can pop off the back. Here you do have a removable battery. On the side here, you do have the option for a micro SD card. And then here you have the SIM card. So when I got it, it wasn't pushed in all the way. So you do need to make sure that you push that in all the way. And now let's see if it activates. All right, so our phone is now activated. There you can see LTE up in the top corner. So just a real quick overview before I go testing this out. Now the reason this is a first phone is because there is no app store. There are only 14 specific applications that you can use on this phone. Now looking at the phone, it is powered by Android, so you have very similar icons to what you would see on other Android phones. Now the phone itself, here you have the wallpaper in the background, you have a video player app, a gallery, a calendar, music, phone, messaging app, contacts, and then a camera. And then here is all the apps that are on the phone. So you have a calculator as well. You have a clock, so you could do alarms and timers, file manager. You do have an FM radio, and it also has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack at the top. So you could easily listen to the radio through this. There you have your music player and your voice recorder. So let's head into the settings here. And here you can see the battery life, some different features, display, sound, storage. The one thing that is missing here that you would see on other devices is the ability to sync your account. So as far as I'm aware, you're not able to sync a Google account or anything to this. Pretty much everything is just going to be stored on your device. So we're gonna go ahead, test this out, go take some pictures and use it for a while and come back and let you know what we think of the Gabb Wireless Z2. We now have been using the Gabb Wireless Z2 for a few months now, so let me show you more about what it can do and my overall thoughts. One of the first things I did after unboxing this was I decided to go and pick up a case. You can actually order this off of Gabb Wireless's website. This is the Tudia case. I've used them in the past and they're pretty nice cases. I got this kind of rose gold color, still lets you use the fingerprint scanner and everything right there. So here you go, here is the phone. This is kind of how we have it currently set up. If you scroll down, you do have the option to increase the brightness right here. And then you have all of your different settings up here at the top. You can turn on and off the Wi-Fi. You can change your Bluetooth, so you can just hold down on here. It's gonna go into the Bluetooth options. So if you have Bluetooth headphones, just put them in pairing mode. You can select pair new device and pair them together. Next, you have the option for the ringtone. You can change it to vibrate, or you can tap again to go to silent. Here you do have a flashlight, so you can easily turn on the flashlight and turn it off. You can turn on airplane mode, so that's gonna give you the best battery life possible. I was gonna save this tip for later, but this is actually one of the coolest things that you can do on the phone. While we were using this, we were like, why can't you really do or create much? So if you take a screenshot, and then if you click the edit right here, you now have the option to crop it, but you also can do a brush. So if you want to write a message on a screenshot or something and then send that over a picture message, you would be able to do that. And there are some fun different editing things that you can do here. Here you can blur something or use the eraser. And then with the brush, you can change the color, change the size, change different shapes that you want to create. So there is a slight way to make some creative things here on the Z2, which is kind of cool. Next, you have power saver mode. So if you just want it to last a long time, but still get your text and everything, you could do that. Now, battery life has actually been pretty good here on the Z2. I could go a week without charging it and it would work really well. So I'm really impressed with the battery life because you don't have all those apps and Google accounts in the background constantly trying to download information. It's going to last a lot longer. Next, we have dark theme. So when you tap on there, it's going to change the theme. So it's going to change the theme in like the messaging app. So here you can see the light, and then you tap it again, and here is the dark theme in the messaging app. Next, you have the auto rotate. You have a night light, so that's going to turn on like your blue light filter. And then you have do not disturb, where it's not going to vibrate or let you receive any phone calls right there. So those are the main settings. Next, you have your home screen. So we've already kind of set this up. Again, you hold down the button. You can then change your wallpaper right here. So there are some preset wallpaper options that you have. If you do want to select something from your photos, you can tap my photos. And here we have some different options that we have used. And you are able to even download some files. If you Bluetooth them over here, you can download files, which is nice. And then you can go ahead and add your own wallpaper like that. And you can add it to the home screen or the lock screen. Next, you have the widgets. So widgets are really cool because you can see information on the home screen without going into an app. So you have the calendar widgets, clock widgets, your different contacts. So I like this contact. So if I hold down the contact, drag it right here, I can then choose, let's say we want to be able to call Grandpa. When I tap on his contact, I then have the option to call him or send him a message right away, and it's showing other messages that we have used. So that's one of my favorite widgets. Go back into widgets. Here you have the messaging one, you have your music, and you have the settings. And then if you want to adjust your pages, you hold down, and then you can go to a page and you can hold down on the page and you could change the order right here. And then here you have home settings. So app badge, this is like the little pop-up on the badge. So you have the option to turn those off. Here you have your different wallpaper scroll. So here we just have normal scroll. We have cube, cube inside, smooth. We have the flip option and the wave. And then we can change the layout. So if you want less icons, you have the 5x4, you have a 5x5, and so on. So here you can see our icons are now a bit bigger. If we want to change that back, you can come in here and choose like the 6x5. And there you can see it's back to the original size. And last, you have the different themes. So you have a default theme, a classic theme, and a geometry theme. So this is going to change some of the little icons. Now let's look at the different apps. So here are a few apps, but all the apps are when you swipe up. Here are all the apps you have on the phone. So first you have your calculator. So pretty simple calculator. If you do rotate the calculator, here you get a few more options over on the side. Next we have calendar. So you can easily go here, select plus, create your different calendar events, create notifications. Now there is no way to sync this with a Google Calendar or anything. It's a calendar that is stored directly on the device. Next we have the camera app. So with the camera app, you have the photo option. So you select this camera to go to the front camera, or you select it again to go to the rear camera. You have video over here, and I think you can swipe between them. So if you want to go to more that has a manual mode and time-lapse mode, you can just swipe over. To do that, here in the settings, you can adjust certain things. You can change the resolution. So this is the max resolution, 8 megapixels. Here you can set a timer. Here you have a grid, so you can make sure that you're getting the nice composition. You have a gradienter. I don't know what that is. Shutter tone, you can turn that off. You can take pictures by touching the volume key, or you can zoom in with the volume key or change the volume. Here you can change the hertz of the picture, and you can choose a save location. So instead of the phone, you could choose on the SD card. I just don't have one on the device. And then here you have the option for flash, and there are filters up here that you can add on to the picture. So you can take some pretty fun pictures there. Now let's take a look at how the cameras actually perform on the Z2. And after we have used this phone for quite a few months, it's pretty impressive. So here's some pretty outside shots of these flowers. Here's a nice sunset. Here's a funny looking pear. And then here's some low light photos at night with a flash and some daytime photos, and everything looks pretty good. And the kids sometimes take some blurry photos. So it really just depends on who's taking the photo. But as you can see, they all look actually pretty good. Some things to be cautious of is if you move the camera too much while you're taking a picture, or if you move it too fast once you touch the shutter button. You can also make sure the lens is cleaned so that you don't have smudging, smearing screen. And I think on most of these, my daughter's finger was just too close to the flash, and that creates this bloom light effect. Now for the selfie camera, here you can see the low light performance, and during the day, this actually looks pretty good. Now let's take a look at some video. So here is a video taken outside with great lighting.
Celebrate Sam.
And the sound is pretty good as well. And then here we have inside. You can of course record in portrait or a landscape. So it looks like I need to teach my kids the right way. Now sometimes I've noticed that it does not focus properly, and maybe that's because of how they started recording, but they were having a blast either way.
I flew off my bike. So do you hear?
Now watching some of the videos my kids have made totally remind me of the first time I had access to a camera that my dad let me use, and I had created a Star Wars movie with the toys that I had. So it's great to see them playing around the same way I did when I was a kid. And here is some video taken in lower light. So as long as you have some light in the room, it looks pretty good. And again, here is one more, just because it's pretty cute that he can hold the phone. So these cameras definitely work, and as you can see, the kids don't really care how they turn out. They just love that they have the option to record these videos. Overall, I'm actually pretty impressed with how the camera works on the Z2.
What is she doing? I don't know. Leave a like, please. Subscribe, please subscribe. Don't you right there. You.
Next you have clock. So this is where you would be able to set an alarm clock right here. You can do a world clock. You have a stopwatch and timer. Here you have contacts. So you can easily add your contacts right here. You can add the names, phone number, mobile, and you can even add more fields, birth dates, addresses. All of that information you can save in there. And if you want to add a photo, you could select the photo. You can take the photo or choose a photo. So let's go ahead, say we want to choose one of these that we have taken. There we have a pretty flower. You can then crop by selecting a corner, select done, and we give it a name, flower. There's autocorrect, save, and now we have our flower contact. And you can tap on the contact to call right here or to message. Next you have File Manager. So this is how you would view files on your SD card. You have pictures, music, videos, and other options. And again, you can't download anything. It's only things you've put on the SD card. So if you want to put music on, or if you want to put other pictures, put it on that micro SD card, put it in the phone, and you can do that. I tried Bluetoothing, it just doesn't work great. Next, you do have FM radio. So to use the FM radio, you need a pair of headphones. Now you could use a USB set of headphones, or you can use standard 3.5 millimeter headphones. So now when I go into the radio, you can see that I now have the option to adjust the radio station just like this. So if I want to navigate specifically, there you can select favorites, and your favorites would be down here. Let's go ahead and choose another. So to get exactly right, you can push the little arrows. And I'm going to favorite that. So there you have an old school radio. Next you have the gallery. So this allows you to view the photos and videos that you have taken. If you want to go through and edit a photo, you are able to do that. So here I have a nice picture of me. I could favorite that photo. Here I can select the edit, and I get options to rotate. I have options to crop, filter, make adjustments. So I can do contrast. You can do some little editing here to the photo. You could blur a certain part of the photo. So here if I select my face, zoom in, I can then blur the background. So that's kind of a cool effect there. You can do the mosaic effect again, where it pixelates me. Here you have the doodle option. So instead of just doing it while you take a screenshot, you then can come in here and draw and do fun little designs. Oh, here I'm drawing different shapes. So you can increase the size. Here I have other shapes. Or here I can just do a normal doodle. Here you can change the color. And so a lot of fun little things that you can do there. And here you can even add text and create different memes right on your Z2. And here you have different albums. So there's camera, favorites, videos, screenshots, and download. If you want to create new albums, you can do that. So here, let's just call this new. And now it's asking for me to add pictures to the album. So I can come in here, select those, and you can move them so they're only in one place, or I could copy them. Now that I've copied them, here's our new album, and we can have all the pictures there. So it's nice that you can easily sort the pictures. So you do even have a collage maker where you can take multiple photos and put them together, or you have a GIF maker. And with a GIF maker, you can select a bunch of different photos, and then here it can create a different GIF. You can change the speed of it. So you can go slow, you can go fast. You can change the order. You can go forward and backward, or reverse and forward and backward. Change the size. So maybe if you're going to send this into text, You want to adjust that, and then you can adjust the frame. So if you want to zoom in on a certain frame and make it funny like that, you would be able to do that. So it's cool that you do have a few ways to create certain things that you could send to friends. Next, you have messaging. So this is where you're going to text. If you want to delete a text, you hold down, can select the delete. If you want to block that caller, here you can select the little spam button. So if I push that, it's then going to block that account. And so then you can see all your different texts here. If you want to message somebody, you can just tap on it, send a message. If you want to send a picture, you select the plus, and then here it's going to pull up different picture options. You can even choose other things that you have. If you have a recorded audio, if you want to make a quick reply with preset messages, you have all of those options there. Here you can see different archived messages that you've blocked. And then here you can see your blocked contacts. And here you can see your settings. So this is the default messaging app because it's the only one. You can adjust notifications. So if you don't want it to show any notifications or if you want them to be silent, you can do that. You can have them pop up on screen. And then you can also change if it's going to vibrate, have the blinking light up here, override do not disturb. So maybe you want a parent to always come through. You can come in here and turn on that option. Here you can adjust what your quick reply is. So if you always have something you want to send back, you can come in here and change that. Here you have emergency alerts and you have more. So you can have it automatically delete messages. You can have SMS delivery reports. You can create group messages, see your phone number, and so on. And you can even add a signature at the bottom. I don't think you should, but you can. And that's messaging. Next we have music. So I don't have any music on here, but pretty simple. You can see your favorites recently played, and you can see your different music folders as well. Now here, this is a brand new app. This is the My Gabb app. So with the My Gabb app, it came in an update to the Z2, and is what this allows me to do is link the My Gabb app on my phone so I can then track the location of this phone. So here is the My Gabb app. When I open it up, it shows the different devices that I have connected. So if you have multiple My Gabb phones in your account, you can see those. And then here you can see the battery life, when it was used, where their current location is. And so you could zoom out here and see exactly where they are. And there are also options to set the interval of how often that's going to refresh. You can message them, call them, you can refresh the location, and if you lose the phone, you can play a sound to find it. And there is the sound. In here in the settings, you can change your child's profile, and you can also adjust some of the settings. So here you have location update, and then here you can set monitor times. So if you don't want to have it monitor when they're already home, you can turn that off. And here you can remove the device from the app. Now, one of the reasons you would want to set monitor times is if they're at home, you really don't need to monitor them, so you could save battery life so that when maybe they're out at school or after school playing around, you could have it turn on the monitoring so that then it's going to use some battery, but you will know where they are. Now, I'm really excited that this option is finally available. It did take a few months extra for the update to come out, but I think it's a really great feature that they have added to the Z2 phone. Next, you have the phone app. So this is where you can see your history. You can see your favorites and your contacts right here. And then you can search for a contact. And then here you have the settings. Now here you can see I'm getting a lot of spam calls. So if you hold down on one of them, you can then block the number and select block. So anytime somebody calls you don't want, I'd go through and block the number. It looks like it's still showing here in the history. So you would then delete it after you've blocked it so it's not showing in your history anymore. Next, you have the settings of the device. There's quite a bit you can do in here. You could change the network, connected devices like Bluetooth, see the battery, turn on and off certain features like the navigation. You can change to gestures where you swipe up and to the sides, but I like to keep it here on the back home. And recent apps. Here you have one-handed mode, so that's going to shrink down the device. So if you hold down the back button, here you can see it made the screen a little bit smaller. And then here you can have a scheduled power on and off. So if you want the device to automatically turn off at night and then turn on in the morning to save that battery, you can enable that here. You can adjust your display settings here, how long it's going to wait until it times out, and change your default font size and the LED indicator and all of that fun stuff. And then here you have your security options. So if you want to create a lock on your phone, you can create a swipe, a pattern, a PIN, or a password. If you want to add a fingerprint, you have that option right here. So let's manage fingerprints. We're going to add a pattern and a fingerprint. So let's just say I choose that pattern. And then if I want to, you could have it show all content while you have it locked, or you could have it show sensitive content only when unlocked, or show or don't show content at all. So you can really choose depending on how you want to display your info. And now we're going to press our finger right here on the fingerprint scanner until we fill the full fingerprint. Congratulations, it is now done. So now our phone is locked. To get into it, there I just put my fingerprint on and it gets right in. So those are some of the main settings you would want to know about. And then here you have a video player. So instead of going into the gallery, you can come in here and view the videos that were recorded. You can view them in a few different ways. You could search for them, and if you hold down on one of them, you could go to menu and you could rename it. So if you want to organize your videos that way, you're able to do that. And last here, you have the voice recorder. So if you want to record your voice, you want to make a note, you can do that easily right here. If you want to see all your notes, you can see them right here as well. And then you can organize your notes, rename them, edit them, set audio as a ringtone, notification. So that allows you to do some fun stuff. You can record a little sound clip and make it your ringtone. And so those are all the different apps that you can use and the important settings that you might want to know about of the Z2. Now, once we started using the phone, my daughter asked me, well, can I download any apps or can I play a game? And the answer is no. You can't do any of that here on the Z2. And she responded with, okay, well, I guess it's better to not have any of those than to not have a phone. And I think that's really what Gabb is pushing. It's nice to have all of the communication options and to be able to talk to your friends, message them and call them and so on, versus having a smartphone that has everything and unlocks a world that you really don't need. But as a kid, it's great that you have options to communicate with people and then have the option to draw or listen to music and do some of those little things to just kind of relax. But there's no need to have a ton of games and ton of apps that you don't need to use at a younger age. So I think it's really great that my daughter could use this. I would let her take it. I'm not worried about different things that she could access on the device. I'm just glad that I now have the option to be able to access her location at any time. She can then call us and communicate with us without any issues. The service fee is really not that much to have all of those different features. And it's great that it's a limited smartphone. It's still nice that it's a smartphone and you feel like it's this really cool thing in your pocket, but it's limited. And I think that's one of the best parts about what Gabb Wireless is doing. Now I want to give a word of caution about Gabb Wireless and this device. So first off, this is a cell phone. It has access to call or message pretty much anyone in the United States. Now there are the options to block phone numbers for calling and texting you, but we had been using this for a few weeks And this to us is a brand new number. Nobody had access to it except for a very few people. But we started to get random calls as well as text messages from people we didn't know. Now, at first, I wasn't really alarmed because they were just random spam calls or whatever. And then I got a text that was somebody trying to promote her business, and there were picture messages in it. And I thought, oh, okay, somebody just has this old number and it's not, they don't know that it's not somebody's number anymore. Well, on Halloween, we ended up getting some text messages that I would never want my daughter to see. They were pretty gruesome. And there was no way for me to stop that unless I would have chosen the plan that didn't have picture messages. So at first I thought that would be fun for us to send some pictures back and forth, but I would recommend to not get the picture message option. And of course, that's me just not knowing about having cell phones for kids, so I would stay clear of that. But then my other concern is anyone that has that phone number can contact the phone. And there is no way to block all numbers. All that information is still going to come through. Once it comes through, then I can block that number, but there's no way for me to go and tell Gabb Wireless to block every number except for the few numbers that I want to have contact with this phone. Hopefully over time this could change, and I could see maybe through the new Gabb Wireless app that something like that would be possible, where I can go in and say, all right, this number has access to contact the phone, or this number has access to call, or something like that. But right now it's still pretty much an open phone line. It's a phone number that's already been out in the world. And so I don't feel as confident being able to completely use it without knowing that something weird is going to come on the phone. Now, for our case, it was probably worst case scenario that this random text message came in with this terrible pictures and all kinds of things. So that's not going to happen to you. Hopefully not. Just steer clear of getting the picture message option, as well as just checking up on the phone, making sure that everything that comes through is something that you would want your child to see. So that's it. That is Gabb Wireless. It definitely is something that's new. It's unique. It's different than what anyone else is doing. So I can say it has been really cool to have one of these. I am confident that my kid would be safe on this. They can't download apps. They can't go in and find apps and put them on. What is on the phone is what's there. The only thing is to teach them about safety with random numbers, not answering those calls from people they don't know, or checking in with you on certain text messages that might not be for them. So if you do have any further questions about the Z2 from Gabb Wireless, please let me know in the comments below. And if you would like to pick up one of these yourself, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.